I want to wish a fantastic day to everyone. And today's video is going to be about parenting. And it's my opinion. And this might not be applicable to everyone, especially if you're just a teenager. But if you're thinking about becoming a parent, and if you're confused in life, this conversation might shed some light on why you're confused. I believe that being a fantastic parent is the best thing you could do for humanity. It's a very rewarding experience, but unfortunately, most people don't dedicate their lives to their children. Most, I'm going to say most. Or we wouldn't have the wars and confusion and the confused people and the anger and just all the bad things that are going on the planet. So, all parents, 100% of all parents are amateurs because you never did it before. You could read every book on the planet, but you're going to be an amateur till you have your first kid. And you're going to make mistakes. You love your kid. Hopefully you love your kid, but you're going to make mistakes. And my belief is that after 6 kids, you'll make less mistakes. Not no mistakes, just less mistakes. So it's trial and error. It's doing the best you can. But you got to also remember that you were raised by amateurs. And your parents were raised by amateurs. So it's generation upon generation upon generation of people making mistakes. Teaching fear. You know, putting bad programs into kids' minds. Because they're blank slates when they come out. And we have to program them with the right information. Right, and they say the first 7 years of one's life is really important, and God only knows my first 7 years what they were like. I had 3 sets of parents up to 9 years old that were, I got beat. That's a bad thing. We learned that beating, capital punishment is not the greatest way. So let's say, give you an example. Your child knocks over grandma's vase. And grandma passed or whatever, and it's the only vase you had from grandma. The knee-jerk reaction is to slap your kid, beat your kid, punish your kid, yell at your kid, and that is the wrong punishment. What you need to do is console the kid, because he made a mistake. Hopefully he didn't do it on purpose, and you console little Johnny. Johnny, that was your grandma's vase. She's gone. We don't have another vase like that. I know you didn't do it by accident, but you have to be more careful. So if you console them with love, they may learn something. They'll probably start crying because you just pulled at their heart that they broke by accident grandma's vase, and it's a horrible thing. But and just capital punishment doesn't work. And you got to know that your children are going to start. They're very smart even without the programming. It's the instinct for survival, I think, and they'll cry in the crib because they know that they're going to get attention. And once they know they can control you. And especially when they start talking and walking, you're done for. When you let your child control you, you can never regain control back. So another example, I'm going to skip around to the ages and things because that's how my mind works. Teenagers, especially girl teenagers, they think they know the world, they think they know everything, and they're very, you're going through pains. You have peer pressure. That's the worst thing of all. And kids and even adults care too much what people think. So what was the train I was going to make there? I like to use a lot of examples. Shoot, I'm trying to think of it. These shows, as you know, are not rehearsed. It's just I'm talking from experience. I'm a great-grandfather. I'm a father. I didn't have any good parenting, and I didn't have love or guidance or education or any of those things that most kids have. And when I hear someone say they had a happy childhood, I go, "What that about? You had a happy childhood?" I can't even fathom what that's like. But I did raise 2 incredible young men. I taught them tennis. I guided them through the tennis world. They got full rides in college. One went on to be top 100 or top 200 in the world. Played all the Grand Slams. Had a fabulous career. And now is happily married with children. So I believe that's my biggest accomplishment in life. Not making a bunch of money, not accomplishing the challenges I've done in life, but raising a fantastic human being. I always say when I grow up, I want to be just like him. No ego, drop dead movie star looks, fantastic human being, and So I've done my part to make the world a better place, because there's a lot of confused people out there because their parents gave them bad advice. They taught them fear. Fear is the worst thing you could teach a child. Let them touch the flame and learn from themselves that it burns a little bit or a lot. And when you start to tell your child that they have to get an education, because you're from different generations. There's different generations, and we keep evolving. A parent will say, you playing video games and riding around on roller skates, it's a waste of time. But there are multimillionaires that love that did that. And that's the secret to life, is doing something that you love, doing it well. Play the piano. That's one thing you do as parents, is guide your children through the sports. Maybe it's not right to guide them through music. Have them play the piano, learn to sing, learn to cook, all the things that are useful in life. But most parents continue their life after having a kid. They go to work, they go to the parties, they have nannies, they send their kids off to boarding school. That's not good parenting. Good parenting, I was a fantastic stay-at-home father for the first 10 years. That was an agreement we had, because my wife knew I didn't have a great childhood and I wanted one for my kids. So she loved working. I never loved working, but I eventually did work when the kids grew up, because there's plenty of time to make money when your kids are gone. One of my sayings is, if you make too much money, your wife will divorce you and your kids will hate you, because you weren't there for them. You weren't there for the school play and parent-teachers meeting, what have you. And then again, if you make too little money, your wife will divorce you and your kids will hate you, because you didn't buy them the things they need. So there's a Goldilocks zone in there, where you work hard, go home for dinner. I really believe you should sit down dinner, put the toys away, put the electronics away, talk to your kids, tell your kids you love them every day, kiss your kids. A lot of people, I don't kiss my kids. I kiss my kids. They're adults now. I kiss my kids. I love my kids. You got to love your kids. It's about love. And guiding them through life is not an easy challenge, because your life was different. It was a different era. I was beat with whips, and you can't imagine the beatings that I went through in my life. But I always say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I'm thrilled that I had the hot life I've had with 3 sets of parents that are all horrible. My natural, my step, and my foster parents. Life is fantastic, but sometimes you're guided the wrong path. I always thought it would be kind of fun to tell my son that it was, when I showed him an apple, tell him it's an orange. Because he's going to think it's an orange, even though it's an apple, because you taught him that. That's kind of a really bad example, but that's programming. We're programming them to have fear in their life. And it's just, again, it's the hardest job you'll ever do. You've only got them for 18 years maybe, and then they're on their own. I left home at 17, hitchhiked around the world. I was grounded for 7 years, so I figured it was either get grounded again or leave. It wasn't a pleasant experience in a foster home. But even though you love your kids, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And that's life. We keep evolving. We know that smoking's bad, right? We're learning. We're learning very, very slowly, but we're learning. There's a lot of examples I want to give about kids, but like when I do something, I do it really big time. When I decided to teach my kids tennis, I dedicated every weekend of my life to them for tennis tournaments. Every weekend for 15 years, And then they went to college and had great college tennis careers, and then they went on the pro tour. So I gave up a lot of weekends. A lot of people say, I want to go to Bermuda for the weekend. Well, take your kids with you. I wouldn't go to a party unless my kids were allowed. Because my kids were very, very important to me. I wanted to give them so much love that they would turn out okay. And it's about love. You're going to make mistakes. Apologize. You tell them, listen, I'm just human. My parents screwed me up. Just because your parents screwed you up doesn't mean you get to screw them up. And we are programmed. So when we see our parents smoke, we're tending to smoke. When we see our parents take drugs and drink alcohol, we're tending to do that. Because that's the program we saw. And when there's violence in the home and you see your parents fighting, that's very, very stressful. Again, when you're consoling your children, you're using kind words. When you yell at a child, because we are water and words affect water, you're not only infecting or affecting their mental state, but their physical state. Because words affect water. and we're made 70% water. So it's really important to say kind words. Tell your kids they're fantastic. Tell them they're beautiful. Tell them they're loved, and tell them not to care about what other kids think. The peer pressure is the worst thing. Bullies, I tell children, walk away from bullies. They're not getting love in their home. Feel sorry for them. Don't confront them. Turn and walk away. Have the courage to turn and walk away. And it's not, don't let your ego get in the way. Don't let your pride get in the way. Walk away from horrible situations, from unkind people, from evil people. But parenting, teach your kids everything that you know. Get them learning. Get them to have the thirst for knowledge. To be curious. I am so curious about everything. I just keep wanting to learn. And I'm so proud of myself that I was a fantastic father. Maybe not the greatest husband. We all make mistakes in life. We make mistakes in our own lives. And we can blame other people. We can blame our parents, our environment, things. Everyone seems to want to blame. And we blame everything and everyone but ourselves. So forget about the past if you did a bad job. If you did a bad job as a parent and your kids came out rotten, go back to them and apologize because you didn't know. There's nothing wrong with apologizing. You were raised poorly. Your parents were raised poorly. I mean, it's a very rare percentage of parents, even a psychologist or psychiatrist, is still going to make mistakes. But the biggest mistake is really not being there for the kids. Every night you should be sitting at the dinner table enjoying dinner with your family, not in front of the TV, not in your bedroom, or on a TV tray or whatever. It's just important to cook together. I do a lot of cooking on this channel here. I do a lot of cooking shows, and teaching your kids to cook is something it's a survival thing for them. One day they may have to cook for themselves and not order out. It's a new era, and the era is, in my opinion, needs to have a lot more kindness in the world. Kindness is giving your time to your children, giving all your time to your children. But people don't. I mean, even my own son said, well, on his first kid, he says, we can still go out to parties and drink and have fun, right? Well, yes and no. You can't make it you can't make it your lifestyle because your kids will be home with a babysitter, with a nanny, speaking a different language. Of course, it's good to learn new languages and all. So I just want to talk about parenting because I think I'm a really fantastic parent. I got lucky because I should have, beat the hell out of my kids. I did give them one spanking once and told them how much it was painful for me, but they needed to learn that lying was the worst thing they could do in life. So I had to spank them for lying, and that's capital punishment, going against what I said. But it was a one-time deal, and I told them it was going to hurt me more than it was going to hurt them. But they need to learn that lying leads to stealing, leads to cheating, leads to all kind of bad things. And now here's another thing about parenting. If you let your kid off from a punishment, you take your phone away for a week or a day or a month because he did something bad. Well, if you let them off 1 hour early, 1 day early, any time early, then they'll always remember that. They're never going to forget that. So when the time comes that they think they can break the rules again, and they know you're going to let them off early, they're going to do it. But let's say the prom's coming up, and they know if they do this thing, they get caught, and you stick to your punishment, they won't go to the prom. I know it's tough to tell your kid you can't go to the prom. You broke the rule. It's your home. You're providing for them. You have to be strict and not let them off an hour early in punishment, because you do have to punish children because they're rebels. They're challenging you. They're trying to get away with whatever they can get away with. They're monsters at times, right? And so you really, one of the two in a family, a lot of single parents nowadays. So if you're a single parent, you got to be the disciplinarian. You can't let them off from punishment an hour early. Never, no exceptions, if you want to raise a child that's going to be well-heeled and happy in life. And believe me, once you really hold true and they miss the prom, they will never do it again. I promise you. They will never break that rule again because they know you're going to stick to it. They're smarter than you because they are you. They're an evolution of you and your parents and your grandparents. So they're getting pretty smart. Nowadays, kids call up 911. Hey, my father just yelled at me, or I just got spanked, or I'm grounded. They report you now. It wasn't like that in the old days. I tell you, in the old days we didn't have seatbelts. We didn't have all kind of different things. But it's a new era. I'm going around the world trying to teach what I know, give my experiences on things like this. I don't think I've talked about parenting in a long time. I've got stories like you can't freaking believe. Yachting stories, traveling stories. I mean, stories for every occasion. And, I think people can learn from my stories, learn from my mistakes, Make mistakes in my life. Of course, we all make mistakes. And that's not being afraid to fail, because fail is just first attempt in learning. But failing your children is the worst thing you can do, not being there for them. Don't think money is the answer, because you'll find out in life that you made all that money and you missed out on your child's upbringing. You missed out on some amazing experiences. The softball game, the ballet, the recital, whatever the kid was doing, the sports they're into, because you're so concerned about making money. And believe me, I met a lot of people who made a lot of money and regrets that they didn't enjoy the day. They didn't. They just thought money was more important. And that's the society we're in, where it's driven by consumerism, it's driven by greed, it's driven by fear, by violence. It's just a sad state of affairs. I'm on a path of, minimalism, because I had the great things that people try to attain in their life, the yacht, big home, fancy cars, but those things don't buy happiness. They don't buy happiness. Having some real friends and family that loves you, that's happiness. And so it's being useful in life, being of service to others. You'll find very rewarding. I'm having the time of my life traveling 1,189 days now, spreading kindness, giving kind words to people that are confused. Sometimes they're not even confused, but I keep it real simple. I'm not using big words like Joe Dispenza or some of the great minds out there. I'm relating to the common man, because I'm a common guy. I'm just a regular guy. I'm out to prove that coming from what I came from and accomplishing what I did, anybody can do anything they want to do. And they just have to dedicate 5 minutes of their time every day to what they want to do. The secret to happiness is jumping out of bed in the morning, whether it's being a mother, to mother your children and guide them and mold them into some fantastic human beings that are going to be useful in their lives. I probably can go on forever. I should probably make notes. I don't know. I just, these are one-shot wonders, these dissertations talking to an inanimate object. But I do believe that if 5 people watched this, it was worth my time to say this, because there's a lot. And if you have a question or a comment, put it in there below. I'm starting to look at comments. First couple of years on the road, I didn't even look at a comment. Didn't know what a comment was. I was just speaking my mind, showing people that there's a world out there, even though you're sequestered. Because this journey started from COVID, the sequestration of being quarantined. And I wanted people to see that there's a beautiful world out there. A lot of people can't afford to travel. A lot of people are afraid to travel, are afraid of change. I'm in the next couple of weeks going to be leaving Belize, and I have no idea where I'm going. And I'm not worried about it. I don't have any fear about it, because I know it's going to be fantastic. It's called manifestation. You manifestate your life. You believe it's going to happen, and it happens. If you believe it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. What did Henry Ford say? If you think you're right, or if you think you can't, or if you think you can, you're right. It's the same thing. If you think you're wrong or you think you're right, right? So thinking, believing in yourself, love your children, love your children, love your children. They are going to live. You're going to live inside them after you pass. That's what my belief is. That's why we're evolving, because we have the genes and the experience and the evolution of our predecessors. So I don't use big words. Maybe predecessor was the biggest one to use today, because I want to talk to the common person, because I'm just a regular guy doing what I can in the world. And a lot of people think I'm crazy to dedicate the rest of my life to kindness, to teaching kindness, to teaching children about kindness, to reminding everyone else about kindness. But I'm going to go with Steve Jobs, who said people who are crazy enough to think they can make a difference in the world are the ones that do. And I know for a fact I've changed at least one person in my life. No, I've changed a lot of people. 6,720 as of today are ambassadors of kindness that have heard the 3 commitments. And I say, listen, sometimes you can't be kind to yourself. But try. Sometimes you can't be kind to others. Rude people, a lot of rude people out there, a lot of mean people out there, a lot of killers and horrible people out there. But ignore them. Walk away from those kind of people. Delete negative thinking, negative people from your life. And if you have a fight with your parents or your kids, make up. Apologize. It's terrible. I mean, I never had parents, so I mean, if you have a parent and you're fighting with them, make up. You're going to regret, trust me, you're going to regret eventually not having made up with them, especially if they pass. Everyone passes. We all die. Make love, not war, people. Make happiness, make kindness. And kiss your children, tuck them in at night. Enjoy their childhood, because they're going to be gone before you know it. They are going to be gone before you know it. I had my kids at home. That's what spurred this conversation on. I talked to my lady friend. And I had Lester at home with a midwife. Put him in the bath, and he smiled. It was fantastic. It was a great experience. One of the top experiences in my life, of course. Having my kids, jumping out of an airplane. That was pretty wild. My first solo flight. You know, I really believe firsts in life are really, really fantastic. And that's why I had so many firsts you can't even imagine. Because I'm looking for challenges. Life is so easy. But people, your parents especially, tell you it's so difficult. It's so tough and rough and bad out there. No, it's easy. It's what you make it. So this is my biggest challenge, going around the world again, because I hitchhiked around the world at 17. This is my biggest challenge now. So go out there and try to make it a kinder world. And I got lots of programs. Go to drfantasticsworld.com. All my programs are there. Go to worldkindnesslist.com, where all my ambassadors are listed. Go to befantastictoday.com, where all my videos and advice and blogs and TV shows and radio shows are. And if you like what I'm doing, if you believe in it, please like, subscribe, share, because we need more kind people in the world. Again, in ending this, my goal is to get 195 directors, one in each country, and 10,000 admins, one in each village, city, and country, city, country, and town. City, village, town, city in the world. There's 10,000 of them, and that's spreading a lot of kindness. The 3 commitments to kindness solve all mankind's problems. You come first, kids come second, planet comes third. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you are fantastic. And again, like, subscribe, and share. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.